Tonight's big story breakdown: the crisis in the classroom. Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters directing all Oklahoma schools to hold a moment of silence for political activist Charlie Kirk. Fox 25's Rob Hagan joining us live from the Department of Education with how some districts are responding to this. Rob, what have you heard?
Good evening, Adam. Well, the letter went out today to parents and schools discussing a moment in silence for tomorrow to honor the legacy of Charlie Kirk. But many districts are opting out. Candlelight vigils have taken place across the country in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination after investigators say a lone gunman silenced the political figure while speaking to students at Utah Valley University. Now, Oklahoma schools from kindergarten to high school have received instruction from the State Department of Education to participate in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Charlie Kirk. Superintendent Ryan Walters sent this memo Monday afternoon to parents, guardians, and school districts instructing them to hold a moment of silence Tuesday at noon to honor Kirk's legacy. But several school districts sent notices of their own to parents saying they would not participate in a second moment of silence. Students already have a state-required minute of silence each morning to reflect, pray, or meditate. Oklahoma City Public Schools sent a text to parents stating they would hold their moment of silence during their normal scheduled time. That was the same response from Edmond, Union, and Mid-Del Public Schools. But Broken Arrow Public Schools says the additional moment of silence across their more than 30 sites, quote, poses logistical challenges that'll interrupt the instructional day at some sites and the lunch period at others. A message from Superintendent Jason Perez from the Deer Creek School District opted out, citing the moment of silence as, quote, unnecessary and creates an interruption to the instructional day. Now, I've reached out to Superintendent Ryan Walters' office right behind me, but since news time, I've not heard back. Live at the Oklahoma Department of Education, Rob Hagan, Fox 25 News.
Thank you, Rob. The Oklahoma Supreme Court temporarily blocking the controversial social studies standards.
The court ruled the State Board and Department of Education cannot take action or use public funds to enforce or implement the new standards. It also ruled the 2019 standards must be considered the applicable academic standard going forward. The ruling stems from a lawsuit filed over the summer by more than 30 parents, teachers, and faith leaders. They argue the standards promote Christianity while misrepresenting history and politics. The organization Americans United says the ruling will help ensure Oklahoma families, not politicians, get to decide how and when their children engage with religion, arguing the standards would violate students' and families' religious freedom by promoting one version of Christianity and advancing Christian nationalist disinformation. The legal director for Oklahoma Appleseed also weighing in, saying the ruling moves us toward the open, rigorous, and inclusive public education our students deserve.
Sunbeam Family Services working to fill multiple early education positions. This includes lead teacher, assistant teacher, family educator, and home visitor roles. Sunbeam says their hourly rate ranges from $15.50 to $23.50 an hour, and classrooms are fully stocked. Eligible employees can also earn their Child Development Associate credential at no cost. Applications are available online. Tonight, we're getting an update on the statewide cell phone ban schools have had to implement.
Fox 25's Paige Taylor spoke with the state lawmaker who wrote the law and a local district about whether the first month has been a success.
This school year, students in Oklahoma classrooms are without a phone in hand due to a new state law requiring students' phones to be put away from the first bell of the day to the last. State Senator Ali Seifert has been a driving force behind eliminating the use of cell phones in schools.
I've heard parents just share that their students are, they're more engaged, they're retaining the information. Teachers are saying that it's so much easier to teach. I've heard that they're getting, about 10 more minutes of class time for their lesson plans.
Seifert says school librarians are also noticing a change.
Librarians are noticing an increase in books that are checked out from this same time last year. So students are reading more, they're engaged more with their learning, and they're just able to just unplug to 6 to 7 hours, to be kids, to look their classmates in the eye, to maybe study more.
Fox 25 spoke with Norman Public Schools about their policy before school began, and we checked back in with them to see how it is going. NPS says in the first month of school, out of 8,500 middle and high school students, fewer than 900 violations have been recorded, averaging out roughly less than 8 violations per day per school site. A statement from the Chief Communications Officer reads in part, "These violations reflect instances when students actively use their phones during the instructional day, not simply for carrying them. While the numbers show an adjustment period, the overwhelming majority of students are following the policy and staying engaged in learning." NPS says it remains confident the policy will minimize distractions and create stronger learning environments. Paige Taylor, Fox 25 News.
Right now, state law says schools only have to implement the ban for 1 year and then they can decide if they want to continue with it. Seifert says she is considering introducing legislation to extend the ban for longer.
Students in Dallas are also phone free this year. They have to lock up their phones in yonder pouches, but a new tool allowing teachers to keep track of students who need to leave the classroom without relying on their cell phones. The program securely, a high-tech hall pass system. The student clicks on their teacher's name, then where they're going. If it's to the bathroom, they're assigned a designated bathroom. Once the teacher approves the hall pass, a timer starts. If a student takes more than 10 minutes, screens turn yellow, and teachers or administrators will check on them.
Now I know where all our kids are. Our students don't have their cell phones. They can't meet up in the restroom. All these systems are making sure that our focus is always on kids learning.
Administrators say the e-hall pass system also helps add another layer of safety, so if there's a drill or evacuation, they know where the students are.
President Trump keeping a campaign promise decades in the making. As Fox 25's national correspondent Angela Brown explains, the Department of Education is now closer to being dismantled.
It's a victory conservatives have called for since the 80s, and now President Donald Trump is doing it. The Federal Department of Education is being broken up, the duties handed over to other agencies. The latest move, the Daily Caller reporting workforce programs moved to the Department of Labor. Erica Donald's America First Policy Institute chair, Education Opportunity.
Just because we are dismantling the Department of Education doesn't mean we're getting rid of all of the programs that should be kept. We talked about civil rights going to the Department of Justice. We talked about these workforce programs going to the Department of Labor. Special needs services some of those may go to HHS.
Former Department of Ed Secretary under Obama, John King, argues that dismantling the Department of Ed and job cuts could lead to less accountability.
One of the core functions of the department is civil rights enforcement. When folks have a child with a disability who isn't getting their services, the department is the place you go to file a complaint. They got more than 20,000 complaints last year, but the layoffs targeted those very offices.
Earlier this year, the Supreme Court cleared the way for the Trump administration to lay off more than 1,400 Education Department workers. The move is part of Trump's broader plan to dismantle the Department of Education. Lawsuits from states, unions, and advocacy groups are still moving forward. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
A new Gallup survey finds the perceived importance of college at a new low among Americans. According to the poll, 35% of U.S. adults rated college education as very important. That's compared to 2019 when 53% of respondents gave that rating. 75% said the same in 2010. In the latest survey, 24% said college education not too important, compared to 13% in 2019. In 2010, it was at just 4%. And the bell-to-bell no-sell initiative, on OKCFox.com.
Plus, you can find all of our previous big story breakdowns on our YouTube channel. Scan the QR code on your screen or search OKC Fox.